Look at the iceberg on the screen and the different costs associated with quality. There are two types of costs, one at the top and other at the bottom. The top costs are visible costs, called tangible costs. The bottom costs are called intangible costs and are invisible costs. Let us now learn these two types of costs. The top tangible costs. They can be like warranty costs, scrap, rework, reorders, mistakes, wastes, rejections, defects. They are traditional costs. They can be easily identified. They can be anywhere between, say, 5 to 7% of the sales of the company. The intangible costs. They can be like returned goods, cost overruns, overtime, development cost of failed products, product failure, complaint handling, dissatisfied customers, late fees, downtime, billing errors, employee lost time, premium freight paid, inefficiency, unhappy employees, low motivation, excessive inventory, company image, penalties and expediting costs, injuries and accidents, lost customers, lost sales, field service costs, inspection costs, liability costs, administrative costs, testing costs, loss of goodwill, additional employees, product recalls, employee death cases, customer allowances, etc. The intangible costs are the costs of expenses incurred due to lost opportunities. They may be very difficult or impossible to measure. If we start analyzing the words in COPQ one by one, we note that quality comes at a cost. Poor quality implies higher cost, not intended by any organization. This higher cost may be in the form of inspection costs, redesign costs, rework costs, and scrap or rejection costs. Remember, managers and workers speak the language of things, but remember that senior leaders speak the language of money. COPQ allows you to translate the things into money. Please remember the following. When quality costs are initially determined, the categories included are the visible ones depicted in the iceberg: inspection, rejection, rework, scrap, customer returns, recalls, testing costs, etc. This may account to anywhere between 5 to 7% of the sales. As the organization gains broader definition of poor quality, the hidden portion of the iceberg becomes apparent. So, hidden COPQ is the cost incurred to deal with these chronic problems. Effective quality improvement programs can reduce this substantially, thus making a direct contribution to profits. The quality cost system, once established, should become dynamic and have a positive impact on the achievement of the organization's mission, goals, and objectives. For ease of understanding, we classify it into 4 major categories. They are: number 1, internal failure costs; number 2, external failure costs; number 3, appraisal costs; and number 4, prevention costs. Number 1, internal failure costs. These costs are the expenses incurred due to scrap, rework, re-inspection, supplier problems like late deliveries, excess inventory, equipment downtime, unused reports, redesign and engineering changes, etc. Number 2. External failure costs. These costs are the expenses incurred due to product recall, handling complaints, customer service, analysis of returns, late payments and bad debts, lawsuits, and most importantly, the sales lost due to customer dissatisfaction. Number 3. Appraisal costs. These costs are the expenses incurred due to testing, inspection, process controls, training, quality system audits, surveys and audits, supplier certification, security checks, safety checks, and so on. Number 4. Prevention costs. These costs are the expenses incurred due to quality planning, training and education, process definition, technical manuals, early product approval, process capability studies, and preventive maintenance. Now let us continue learning more about the cost of quality. Now spend some time on the metrics on the screen. It is important to understand that effects cost money, whether minor or critical. There is always a correlation between impact on operation and the impact on customer satisfaction. Looking at the matrix, we understand that the critical defects have high impact on customer and needs a lot of attention. It is the key area and costs us both ways, customer and operational cost. We also see that in case of major defects, which costs us money, more care is required. For the case of minor defects, the damage is a little less and hence the care required is also less than the other defects. However, in context of quality management, the key area to be focused should be the critical defects. It impacts the company's bottom line and hence its profitability. In the last screen, you have learned the meaning of cost of poor quality. Now, let us learn the meaning of hidden factory. We know that for producing any output, there should be an input and a process to do it. A process is an organized set of activities which has an input, value is added, and a desired output is delivered. Within the process, there is a hidden factory, wherein a lot of rework is done. Any process step starting with a namely recheck, revise, return, reissue, reject, re-evaluate, resend, recall, reship, retest, retype, repeat is a potential non-value added task and needs to be identified and eliminated. The goal of any process is to do it right the first time and every time and meeting the desired standards of quality, time, and cost. Now let us understand the meaning of critical to quality. CTQ stands for critical to quality. It represents the product or service characteristics that are defined by the customer, internal or external. CTQs are customer needs translated into process requirements that are specific and measurable. In other words, when the CTQs are met, the customer is comfortable with the quality of the product or service. Remember that customer drives the process. Based on the customer inputs and needs, we design our process to deliver the desired product. To ensure that you are doing right things, remember the term metric. It is measure everything that results into customer satisfaction. CTQs may include the physical dimensions of height, width, depth, and weight. They may even include the electrical characteristics of a product such as impedance. Impedance means the effective resistance of an electric circuit or component to alternating current arising from the combined effects of ohmic resistance and reactance. Look at the two diagrams on the screen for some time. You will get an idea of the same. So, CTQs describe the requirements of quality in general terms, but they lack the specificity to be measurable. However, CTQs can be translated into measurable terms or critical requirements through the inclusion of customer-defined specifications. For example, the customer may specify that the weight of the product be between 15 to 20 pounds. Products outside these specifications will not meet the customer's critical requirements.